Kathy, it sounds like generally one of the best strategies for an educator, for a teacher who has a student with Tourette in the classroom, is to ignore a lot of the symptoms, be they verbal or motor. But in some cases, that probably isn't going to work, particularly in the case of vocal tics. Can you tell me where you think that line is?
Yeah, it's a fine line, because ignoring the symptoms is going to reduce, again, it's going to reduce the child's anxiety, which is going to reduce the symptoms.
Mhm.
So ignoring, eye rolling is something that is a fairly common tic, and we adults don't like eye rolling. So accepting that that's a symptom rather than being disrespectful. So ignoring clearing your throat, sniffing. I was at a restaurant one time with a young man who had Tourette, and he kept clearing his throat, and the waitress kept bringing him more and more water. It was, I mean, it can be it can be humorous at times, but yeah, ignoring the symptoms is the best thing we can do. But obviously, there are some symptoms that can't be ignored. If it's damaging to the student, if it's damaging to other students, if it's something that we don't want the student to leave school and continue to do this. I mean, school is a place to learn how to live in society. So if there are symptoms that can't be ignored or are better not ignored, but that's pretty severe ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Then
just to be clear, I think we're talking about things that really are pointedly offensive, possibly racial or sexist, or just very, very inappropriate in nature that we can't look past, and that could very, very much disturb the classmates around them, particularly if they're not used to maybe foul language or something. So that's the kind of take you're talking about now.
yeah, or screeching. There's
Okay.
some people
Okay.
that
Things
will
that
have
could
loud
really surprise people or shock them.
and
Okay.
be disruptive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is to meet with a student and come up with strategies. Have the student involved in the strategies, because I've been at way too many tables where we adults sit around the table and we come up with strategy and we ask the kid to come in, and
Yeah.
the kid says, well, that's really stupid, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So having the student involved from the beginning makes a whole lot more sense. And you want to use, we'll talk about sensory later on, but there may be a place for a occupational therapist to, like with the screeching,
Yeah.
an occupational therapist might be able to help with a strategy for screeching. So
I
just thinking outside the box.
Yeah, I really like the point. Well, you made a number of really good points. I love the point about humor. When you can see a bit of humor, go for it, because I think that helps all situations. But I like this other point very much about including the student as much as possible in these strategies. I mean, to have adults planning how you should behave in the classroom without your involvement is going to be perceived by the student as also disrespectful, and maybe leaving them out of the loop. That's not going to go well. So I like this. The student has to answer for him or herself what will actually work, what can work on a daily basis for them. So I like that. And Tourette is not a secret. Secrets can be shameful, and that's not what this is. It is a condition that needs to be dealt with a lot of different strategies, and being transparent about it is probably the best way forward.
Yeah, and one of the ways you don't want to deal with it is punishment.
Yeah.
Too often kids are sent out of the room or sent to timeout or suspended. That's not going to, it's neurological. You're not going to suspend somebody for having a seizure.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense to punish. It's our society. We often think of punishment as a way for the student to figure out a different way to do it. Well, you're not
It's
going to be in a timeout.
involuntary. Yeah.
Right, it's involuntary, and you're not in the timeout room thinking, okay, so what can I do that would be better?
Yeah. Yeah. That's great.